Welcome back to Illini Bears Talk. Big news out of Hiles Hall today. First of all, offensive coordinator Luke Getsy was fired along with many offensive staff. Matt Eberflus is going to be retained, and we had a presser today.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So, to open things up, we have Matt Eberflus staying, Luke Getsy leaving, Tyke Tolbert leaving, Andrew Jonico leaving. So those are the QB coaches and the wide receivers coach. I don't really agree with Tyke Tolbert leaving. I think he was a really good wide receivers coach, but I'm assuming with Getsy leaving, it's his whole personnel. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think this team did need a revamp on offense. I don't think we saw enough progress being made. I think in the presser, Ryan Poles specifically pointed out the passing offense, and I would have to agree with him because we weren't seeing that development from Justin Fields as a passer, and hopefully the next OC that we bring in along with the staff can really hit on that and getting the passing game going again.
For sure, yeah. Right now we have no OC, and I think it's really important that we have to address that position soon before the good ones get taken. Pete Carroll just got, I guess it's demoted. He's a senior advisor now. Senior advisor. He was the head coach for 14 years, and Shane Waldron is the offensive coordinator of the Seahawks right now. But he's probably going to get poached from some team, and I really think that if the Bears get Shane Waldron, that would be a really good offensive coordinator. He's done a lot of things with Geno Smith, throwing from all different angles of the field, different points, especially with Geno Smith not being a really amazing QB.
He did revitalize his career.
He did revitalize his career, but I still think he's a little bit limited. He's not like a top 5 QB in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, no.
So he definitely got the best out of Geno Smith and revitalized his career.
Yeah, and we'll probably get a lot of names in the coming days. And one thing that I'm a little concerned about is how attractive this job is to aspiring offensive coordinators. What big names can we really attract? Like Shane Waldron was actually being mentioned as a head coaching candidate. So we have to have a good pitch to aspiring coaches about what they can do on this offense. And with Matt Eberflus being retained, it's really hard to pitch to an offensive coach that they're going to have job stability and the ability to just wait it out and see the development of their quarterback. So what do you think is the selling point to the next OC? How do we bring in those big names?
Yeah, so I definitely do agree with keeping Matt Eberflus. It completely hinders the chance of getting a big name head coach or offensive coordinator because you really don't have any job security, like you said. We don't know if Matt Eberflus got extended. He could have gotten extended behind the curtains. Nobody knows. So if he is on his 1-year prove-it deal, it's not the most appealing position because of the job security part where you have 1 year, everything goes well, so be it. But if that's not the case, then bad things could happen where Matt Eberflus gets fired and you're on your way out and you're jobless again. So I feel like this could be a good position for somebody like Frank Reich, but I don't see a lot of people wanting Frank Reich. I really wouldn't want to give the guy who just got fired, who had the first overall pick in his hands, who runs a little bit outdated schemes, but I feel like it's really important to note that we do have the number 1 overall pick, and when they are interviewing the offensive coordinators, they're going to ask 2 questions. What are you going to do with Justin Fields, and what are you going to do if we draft a QB? And they're going to weigh both options because they haven't come to a decision. So the offensive coordinator should not be one-sided where, I only have a plan for Justin Fields, I don't want anyone else, or I only want Caleb Williams, I don't want Justin Fields. They have to have a good plan for both, and that will show the versatility in the candidate. And I think that's really important to note.
Yeah, I think it's actually interesting that you noted that because maybe it's actually a good thing that you have to force whatever offensive coordinator you have to scheme for 2 very different players in Justin Fields and potentially Caleb Williams because that decision is going to be made before I think Ryan Poles even knows if he's sticking with Justin Fields or Caleb Williams. I think it's important that we noted that.
And he will dictate, the offensive coordinator will dictate the plans at number 1 as well. It's not like the offensive coordinator will make the decision, but I feel like what the offensive coordinator, like let's say they hire Frank Reich, for example. I really hope they don't. If he says, I want Fields, I can make him into Lamar Jackson, then that will hold a lot of weight with Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren in their decision. Like, if their offensive coordinator is adamant on developing Justin Fields and putting their job on the line for Justin Fields, then they should follow it. If the offensive coordinator gave two good scenarios where they could develop Fields or develop Caleb Williams, and they say the choice is yours, then it's up to Poles. But you really don't want to sign a limited offensive coordinator that is one-sided. So in the scenario where you sign an offensive coordinator like Shane Waldron, he says, I don't want anything to do Justin Fields, I just want Caleb Williams. And then you interview Caleb Williams at the combine, like coming from Ryan Poles, and you don't like the answers he gives you, and Drake May is just not a great caliber quarterback, and you are stuck with Shane Waldron with Justin Fields, who doesn't even want him, then we're almost back to square one where it's just an unqualified candidate for a quarterback. So it really is important to follow what the offensive coordinator wants and what he gives you. So I think that's really important.
And, we also talked about this last week. An offensive coordinator maybe doesn't want to enter a lame duck situation. You have Eberflus on the hot seat. So it really got me thinking, and I believe Brad Biggs actually tweeted about this. Is Eberflus truly on the hot seat for next season? Because, we all are hoping as a fan base that this franchise will learn something for once and decide not to stick with the rookie quarterback and the head coach who's 1 foot out of the door.
Yeah.
So this, to me, presents a situation where, one, you either know that Eberflus is going to be paired with Fields most likely for the next season, and you want to bring that continuity. Continuity is actually a word that was even mentioned in the press conference.
Yeah, it was mentioned multiple times in the press conference.
So there's that plan. And then the other plan, which is, we know we're going to move off Fields, but it's not that Eberflus is 1 foot out of the door. His job is actually very safe, and we don't even have high expectations for him with the rookie quarterback. We're going to give him time. What kind of situation are we even in right now?
Yeah, I saw that Brad Biggs tweet. He was mentioning that there could be a possibility he has job security until 2025. And I think it's the same old Bears giving. If it's really the truth that Matt Eberflus is safe for 2024 and 2025, it's just unfathomable. He's had the worst winning percentage as the head coach. But I understand the one way where it could make sense, because if we do go rookie QB and we have a 5-12 season and we miss the playoffs, and 99% of head coaches are getting fired there, but maybe Ryan Poles understands that it's very important to not fire the head coach and have a second system with your rookie QB. So he gives Matt Eberflus another year, but it wouldn't make any sense. If we win only 5 games and we regress, why on earth would we keep the same head coach? So it's a really unique situation that we're in, especially having 101 and 109. We finally know the draft order. So I'm just letting it play out, but if it was really up to me, I feel like it's still – they mentioned continuity multiple times. They mentioned a lot of stuff about how Justin Fields grew. And one thing I'd like to cite specifically is Kevin Fishbane said that Ryan Poles mentioned, we are going to turn every stone to make sure we make a sound decision for our organization. I do think Justin got better. I do think he can lead this team. But at the same time, there's a unique situation and our staff has to look at everything. So Ryan Poles does accredit growth to Justin Fields. It is apparent in his analytics and stats. It's not the growth we all wanted, of course. There's a lot of factors to this. I don't think Fields played to how we all expected his passing stats to be. Yeah. But I also think it's very important to note that he walked in with Chase Claypool, DJ Moore, and Darnell Mooney as the receivers. By week 4, Chase Claypool was traded to the Dolphins for a 6th-round pick, and he lived up to nothing of the standards. And Darnell Mooney, I hate saying this, but he basically fell off a cliff. He did not, he was non-existent. He was just a shell of himself, in my opinion. Maybe rehabbing from his ankle injury didn't go well, but people try to blame Darnell Mooney's production on Justin Fields. That's just not a correct statement because in 2021, in 2022, in 2021 he had 1,000 yards. In 2022, he was playing really well before he got injured. So if we knew this going into this year that Chase Claypool won't be on the team by week 4 and he will suck, and Darnell Mooney will be a shell of himself, how exactly are the weapons that there's no more excuses this year? We only had one good receiver who led the league. So it's a point for many questions in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'll agree with you. I think there was growth from Justin Fields. I actually posted a graphic.
Yeah, as you can see
earlier
on this
morning.
graphic, it shows some growth, but not the growth we want.
But it's growth from bottom of the league to almost bottom of the league to barely middle of the pack. And the truth is that we have to face is that Justin Fields has not grown to the level of the quarterback that we want him to be. We all talk about the third-year jump.
Yeah.
That hasn't been made. Now, I think the more important conversation we have to have is who takes the blame of that. Clearly, we know that Getsy takes some of that blame. He just got fired. So we know that Poles sees Getsy as at fault for a lot of that. You don't want to change your opinion based on one game, but I think last week's game against Green Bay was very concerning. I think it's a really good measuring stick of where this franchise is at. I believe that we have a roster that is on par with Green Bay at a minimum,
for sure.
on par with Green Bay, and to go in there and get embarrassed like that has to signal multiple things to me, because I think you can lose based on your roster, which we've ruled that out. You can lose based on your quarterback, and you can lose based on your coach. I think that game against Green Bay was lost by the coach and the quarterback, but mostly Luke Getsy, because some of the play calling was absolutely horrific. I mean, we didn't even throw a pass in the third quarter.
Not an attempted pass in the third quarter. It's genuine insanity. Yeah. I tweeted it out. People say he takes too deep of a drop back. It's just, you can say what you want, but with the game plan we went to in Lambeau Field, I was in attendance. There's no chance we're gonna win the game. It's just sad. There's no creativity in route concepts, nothing. So it's really unfair for Justin Fields to have to deal with Luke Getsy. I think every single Bears fan cannot agree right now, but one thing they can all agree on is Luke Getsy being gone is a good thing for this franchise.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just it's unlucky. I don't think Justin Fields has been dealt a fair hand. So
some of those games, again, I don't want to hit too much on Luke Getsy. I think we all agree that he was a big problem, but it just seemed like in some of these games against Green Bay, I wouldn't be surprised if he was calling Matt LaFleur on Saturday night, telling him what plays we were running, opening script, what was our game plan going into that game. It's
he was always, if Matt LaFleur was 5 steps ahead the whole game, he knew everything.
It was 11 negative plays on the Bears compared to 2 negative plays for Green Bay. Wow. That means 11 plays that we ran were completely read by Green Bay and actually went for negative yards. That's a huge concern. And another quote from Ryan Poles in this press conference that really struck me was he specifically on losing to Green Bay. He said, "quote We aren't there yet."
It's tough.
What is left? Because he also said that he doesn't think there are many holes on this roster. So where is the progress going to be made? Obviously, getting a new OC is part of that. But where else can we make progress? This, to me, signals the reality that it's very likely that we could be moving on from Justin Fields, just given the limited progress we've made and the just signaling that he doesn't think we're on par with Green Bay. And I don't know what you think about that, but I think that's what it signals to me.
Yeah, I definitely think him saying we aren't there yet is a little bit alarming for Justin Fields' job security, since if you really look at it, the Packers wide receivers, they're all they're bottom of the barrel, and Jordan Love still got 4,000 passing yards with Jaden Reed, Dontavion Wicks, Christian Watson on one hamstring. He really got it done with bottom of level players. And we have a better wide receiver core. I wouldn't say better O-line. They did better. But what exactly was he referring to when we aren't there yet? It could be coaching. It could be the quarterback play. You don't know exactly. So it was a pretty alarming comment based on we aren't there yet, because it's our division rivals. Like, when are we going to beat them? Are we ever going to beat them? Like, Matt Eberflus
They were
is
rebuilding.
0-6. He's
They were
0-6
rebuilding
against
this
them.
year,
Yeah,
yeah.
they were rebuilding and they still beat us. So it is really alarming. But there's also another thing that Ryan Poles said in the press conference that I was a little bit shocked by it, because it felt like somewhat of I wouldn't say a direct shot, but it's a big thing that is mentioned with the prospects in this year's draft. And what he said exactly was, the most important part of studying QB prospects is the person. That's the biggest part. I've got a lot of confidence in our ability to see talent on the field. The human being we've got to figure out. And then he went on to mention maturity in being able to withstand the notorious Chicago media. So you can say what you want about Caleb Williams, but I don't think he's handled media very well this season. I don't think, he's a phenomenal player on the field, but off the field, there's been some concerns about how he handles the media. I'm not saying he has character concerns. I'm just saying, after getting blown out by Notre Dame, he mentioned stuff about how people just want to be in his shoes and he doesn't listen to sheep. I know it was referring to a kid who ran on the field and said was taunting Caleb Williams,
Yeah.
but I still think it's not something you should say after losing and just ignoring that, saying something else. I don't think this is a reason why you shouldn't draft him at all. It's just his way of approaching it. But at the end of the day, it's what Ryan Poles really thinks matters. But I really do believe answers like that and saying I just want to go home and cuddle with my dog after a loss, that won't slide in Chicago media. So he either has to adjust those comments or just not say them at all. But besides from that, I think his maturity is fine. He's still a phenomenal player, and a lot of people that have worked with him said Caleb Williams is a phenomenal player. So there's that.
Yeah, we have to see again. Ryan Poles did say that he must be blown away by the quarterback prospect. I do think Caleb Williams, the player, is that level of being blown away. Clearly, character is another half of the evaluation.
He said it's the first part. The biggest part.
So it's actually pretty important to say that, I don't expect Ryan Poles to be blown away by Caleb Williams' character. I'm
100%.
not as concerned as other people are about it, but I don't think he'll be blown away. So, yeah, that's important to know. I guess last thoughts. This all connects back to Eberflus being retained because, like we said, a lot of fans don't want a hot seat head coach paired with a rookie quarterback. But this is likely the reality we're going to live in, or the reality that we're going to have Justin Fields next year. Mm-hmm. So given these two scenarios, what are your expectations with Eberflus with both quarterbacks? How do you expect the season to pan out with Fields, and how do you expect it to pan out with Caleb?
Okay, yeah, so to round this off, I think if we keep Justin Fields and we don't do the doomsday scenario of drafting a quarterback number one and having him sit behind Justin Fields, that's really stupid. I also don't think Justin Fields' agent would allow for that. I think if we keep Justin Fields, trade down from 1 to, let's say, 3 with the Patriots, we grab Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 9. I think we go edge rusher. We draft Jared Verse, for example. I think our floor should be 8 wins. I feel like we definitely would take that step. I don't know who the offensive coordinator is, but if we do keep Fields in that scenario, I think we should win more games than what we've won this year. And if we don't, we should fire Matt Eberflus, get rid of Fields, and possibly get rid of Ryan Poles. I mean, he missed out on Caleb Williams at that point. Yeah. But I think the minimum is to improve, and the minimum should at least be a playoff win. And now on the flip side, if we preferably trade Fields and draft Caleb Williams number 1 and probably grab Romo Dunze at 9 or Neighbors, whoever falls to us, it's got to be an offensive weapon. If the floor should still be the playoffs. If we can't make the playoffs, it is a loss. We missed out on 2 extra prospects we could have gone, future draft capital, and we regressed. If we get 5 wins and miss the playoffs, we're back to rebuilding. We just wasted a whole year of contracts, DJ Moore on his final year. We wasted a lot of things if we only get 5 wins. So the minimum win count should be 8. even if we draft Caleb Williams. So Matt Eberflus putting his job security on a rookie is one thing, but if he really thinks Caleb Williams is the next Patrick Mahomes, it shouldn't be an issue. But I think if Matt Eberflus is on a win now mantra, he has to stick with Justin Fields because he knows he can win games. He won 7 games this year, should have been 10, and he knows he can win with him, and he will make the team better, especially with better prospects around him.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think my expectations with Justin Fields are quite clear. It's playoffs or bust. I think if we can't make the playoffs with Justin Fields next year,
100%.
I think Eberflus should be out the door. I'll be the first one to open it for him and kick him out of Hallis Hall. Trust me. I have to disagree with you about Caleb because, again, just rookie quarterbacks in general, there's a steep learning curve, and you can never expect a rookie quarterback to take you to the playoffs or start winning right away. It's a very tough ask no matter how good your roster is. Maybe if you're the 49ers, it's a different story, but we're obviously not on that level, which is what concerns me a little bit and what makes me wonder how hot Matt Eberflus' seat is for next season, because Poles has made it clear that taking a rookie quarterback is definitely an option. And if that's the case, he's going to have to be patient with Matt Eberflus. I think expecting the playoffs in his first season would be just such a
Tall task.
it's such a tall task. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's just setting yourself up for failure where, if Matt Eberflus doesn't succeed in his first season with a rookie quarterback, you're ending that continuity and we're back to the same old cycle again. So this is what hints at me that maybe Matt Eberflus isn't entirely on the hot seat, and I wouldn't be expecting playoffs with Caleb Williams, but I would be expecting a competitive team. I'll put it that way. A team that fights each week and keeps games close.
100%. Yeah, I mean, last thing I want to say to piggyback off what you said, it is a tall task to expect a rookie quarterback to come in and be basically C.J. Stroud this year, but I do think it's very, very true to note that if you get rid of Justin Fields and you regress, that won't sit well with the fan base at all. I know it takes time for the rookie to develop, but we are basically restarting the rebuild, because if we regress, that means there's an issue. We didn't get more wins. And all they're saying in the presser is win, win, win. Even Kevin Warren is impatient for wins. That's how badly he wants to do it. So you never know. If Caleb can't get you wins right away, it's tough because this would be year 3 of the rebuild. And if you can't get more than 7 wins, where are we at? You know what I mean? So I definitely wouldn't be mad if we took Caleb and we didn't win right away because it's expected. But it is pretty sad to know the possibility of we would have probably gotten more wins if we kept Fields and bolstered the roster.
Yeah. Just a lot of tough questions coming up for Chicago.
Definitely.
Stick with us for all of that. There's going to be a lot of news coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Hopefully next week we'll be able to tell you guys the offensive coordinator and what we think will happen with Justin Fields.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us today.